Thank you, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Planning Board, AHRP, for the Village Dobbs Ferry on Thursday evening, September 7, 2023, 7 p.m. at Village Hall. We have a relatively short agenda this evening, but we will take all the time available to deal with the applications that we have. The first on our agenda is AHRB Public Meeting Agenda, 152 Broadway, Washington Headquarters, AHRB review for proposed replacement of brick wall running along the property along Route 9 BW.
Greetings. I'm Steve Tilley of Stephen Tilley Architect at 22 Elm Street in Dobbs Ferry. And I'm the architect for a portion of the work. Most of the work is engineering, which is the complete replacement of the wall that you are probably well aware fell down onto Broadway within recent memory. And so,
portion of it.
Because the entire wall was, had in several different segments had reached its statute of limitations as a viable piece of structure, and then new replacements that were not very well built. The entire wall has to be replaced, and we have to do it. I mean, this is not your purview, but we have to do it entirely on the 152 Broadway property. So that means an L-shaped retaining wall. And so originally, before the development was there was a wall, historic wall. But then when the development was done, at least this is my reconstruction, they decided to pile up soil behind it and turn it into a retaining wall. Well, it was never designed as a retaining wall. It was designed as a freestanding boundary wall. And so you can only, I mean, it's lasted for X number of decades, retaining, but as you can see, it's what's remaining is listing, and the portion that failed. So this will be a complete replacement. I've worked with Jablonski Building Conservation. We've done a major brick search, and we've come up with brick that essentially is the closest available match anywhere to the brick that was there. So what you'll be seeing is a close historic match to the wall that was there. And actually there'll be an improvement to the coping, which originally wasn't really that well done. It didn't have a drip. You know, you normally have to cut a drip reglet into a coping so that water actually doesn't follow via surface tension around the coping and then into the masonry wall. In this case, if you have a drip, the water comes around and it hits the drip cap and then drops down to the soil. It's also going to be pitched and have lead strips in the, the proper historic manner that cover the joints between the coping pieces. So that'll all we'll be monitoring and kind of approving samples of the cast stone coping, which will be on the entire length. And I have some.
Is the brick you found like brick rescued from other sites, or you found something that's like newly made that looks like a match?
No. It's Watsontown Smooth 100.
And is it? Are you going to be able to use any?
Sounds
of
like
the
a radio
brick or
station.
Any of the existing brick will remain?
Willie, West Virginia.
Any existing brick will remain, or it's all going to go away?
No,
Okay. So you don't really have to match it then.
It's actually we looked at it, and we looked at it with Jablonski, and the brick is okay, but it's pretty crummy brick actually, the original brick. And so to try to salvage any of that brick,
It's all gonna break.
salvaging brick is tough.
Tedious.
No matter what.
Yeah.
And getting a quantity. So we're just focused on getting a mix of the kind of flashed brick with the texture and the balance that the original wall exhibited. And we have, we'll be getting large samples to approve. So there's a lot of quality control going into the process.
The brick is all on private property?
It will be entirely on private property. We've been through that. There's a portion of the southern end of the wall which now verges into, like, in a matter of inches, into state property, but we'll be realigning the wall so that actually it won't follow the exact footprint when you get, it's only a matter of a few feet where it actually diverges.
So it's all at the expense of the private property owners?
It's all at the expense of the private property owner.
Those are the right words.
Yeah. But I did a very cool, I have to get some, amortize the effort into this.
That's great. That's a long wall.
But this is a stitched together.
Wow.
It's a
You
great
can see the different segments of the wall as we move along.
And they did this only so they could have a level lawn on the other side?
Well, no, it's a historic boundary wall, so it has a lot to do with the character of the building.
No, I mean the fact that they turned it into a retaining wall. There must have been a slope there before and they leveled it out or something, right?
Well, who knows? I mean, they decided, oh, there's a wall there, we can pile soil up.
Oh, gotcha.
No problem.
So the wall is all on private property,
Yeah,
and the grass between the wall and the curb
is all state property.
is all on state property?
Right.
They'll have to
Okay.
mobilize, and there'll be lane closures as they work on it.
Yeah,
They'll do the
right,
concrete backup,
right.
and they'll move along, and then they'll come along and do the brick in one campaign from north to south. But you can see this is the monument area. We're keeping the monument. We are keeping the benches. We're keeping as much of this monument area as we can, but everything else in the whole assembly is going away.
Okay.
And the core of the wall is concrete?
Yeah, the core of the wall is concrete. If you saw the replacement, at some point, somebody built a piece of replacement wall, which was concrete block, and then they put brick on the exterior of it. And then at some point, the brick unzipped. So it was, there's a whole set of, a whole history of failures, which is my favorite subject, but it's led to the complete replacement. And so we're doing the best we can with, that's, of course, we initially thought about keeping some of the wall, but it's just not viable.
Is this not subject to a public hearing? Can we just approve this?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I move we approve the new wall.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Very much.
And
All right.
The approvals for AHRB, just for
Yes.
the record.
Right.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Jeez.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks very much.
All right.
Thanks, Steve. Good to see you.
Okay, we move on to the combined planning board and public hearing and AHRB public hearing agenda. Number one on that agenda is 11 Fairlawn Avenue, continuation of public hearing for proposed new single-family home and associated site plan, blah, blah, blah.
Adjourned.
Adjourned,
It says it was adjourned to October 5.
yes.
All right, I move we adjourn it, or do we need to adjourn it? Was it adjourned?
I would do it, just to.
Okay. All right,
Do we have to vote on the journey?
yeah, okay.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Number 2 on the agenda, on that agenda is Lafergie Avenue, continuation of public hearing for proposed plans to construct a new 2.5-story residence.
Somebody's online to present.
Okay.
So some of the concerns were just,
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
yes.
Yes.
Ah,
There we go. Hi, my name is Pratik Anand. I am also joined by our architect, Lanny Lerner.
Good
Lanny, are
evening,
you on?
everybody.
Hi.
Great. Lanny, do you want to?
Yeah, I know we got some comments back from the trees people and from the engineer. I think we're down to the small details. We would like to request tonight if the board would consider giving us contingent approval. So at least we could get back into the building department to get our drawings started on review.
Can we review just quickly, the few outstanding
Sure.
issues and it's because they were engineering.
Yeah.
I saw it before the meeting, and they seem like they're engineering issues that you would have to be comfortable with, Anthony.
Yeah, the remaining engineering issues, we just wanted to see a little more detail on the sewer sanitary service pipe profile in particular, just to detail that a little better with that steep slope. It's possibly may need to add a couple of clean outs at changes in pitch and so forth. Again, it was a little bit unclear in terms of being able to read all the wall elevations. There's a lot of information kind of, jumbled on that plan. We noticed the landscape plan still showed the retaining wall extending into the right-of-way, but the site plan had pulled it back. So the landscape plan needs to be brought up to coordinate with the site plan. And also, we just noted that the plantings they show in the right-of-way, they need to just show that it's not going to interfere with the sightline distance that they demonstrated that they have. The last comment was just regarding the proximity of one of the dry wells, actually both of them, to the retaining walls. One of them is just very close. I think it should probably be pulled back a bit so that you don't have any infiltration that, basically hits the back of that wall. And the other one at the bottom, I believe, kind of showed kind of in the footprint of the wall, and maybe it needs to be located a little better. But that was it. That's all we really had on engineering.
And was part of it, was there also an issue of part of the wall being in the right-of-way?
Yeah, and the site plan, they pulled the wall back and just dealt with that with grading.
Oh, good, okay.
Just the landscape plan still showed it
Okay.
going out, so they got to coordinate that.
Okay.
So if I just may, I just spoke to our engineer actually. So there were a couple of things on the engineering plan. I think one of the questions y'all also had was for the sewage line, there was one part of the plan that showed it at 2% and another where it showed it at 16.4%. So the engineering confirmed that both of them are 16.4% and not at that 2% planning. So just wanted to confirm that. We've spoken to our landscape architect, so she will be using the latest plans that have the retaining wall outside of the right-of-way, so that will be updated in the landscaping plans as well. And just had one follow-up question there as far as the last point around what are they called? I forget now.
The dry wells?
The dry wells, yes. What would be your recommendation as to how far should they be from the retaining wall?
Well, they should be far enough away that there's no influence of, water seepage through the wall, Okay. It would look very close, within a couple of feet. I mean, it does extend quite a bit deeper also, and
Right.
the wall is sitting right there. I would get some clearance, at least maybe the diameter of the drywall. I think you're using the round concrete drywalls.
Correct.
at least a one diameter away.
Perfect. Our engineer said that should be no problem. He just needed some clarity as to what the recommendation is, so he can go ahead and make those changes.
So are you comfortable, Anthony, with the idea that we could give this a?
Yeah, from an engineering perspective, I don't have an issue with these being conditions to look at later, you know, with a building permit set.
Okay, so the final plan has no structures inside the right-of-way, just to clarify.
The site plan doesn't, the landscape plan still shows
Okay.
it.
But he's gonna update.
But you guys are comfortable updating the landscape plan so it matches the site plan?
Absolutely, yes. They're already working on it because there's also some updates in the landscape plan where we have some decorative rock in the right of way, so they have to be moved out of the right of way as well. So that's going to be coupled into that entire package with the new landscape plan.
Yeah.
Okay, and has the landscape plan been approved by,
It hasn't
Village.
been approved. Christina, is Suzanne Nolan on? No. She had
She
a
had a
couple,
long memo.
what?
She had a long memo.
Yes.
Not that that counts.
There was some deficits on some of the trees. She made some suggestions. Everything on here, I think we could take care of at the time of permitting. It was, if they could make up, they had like a 30-inch sugar maple on the village right away that they're proposing to remove. So they have to make up 15 inches of that. She suggested either planting 5 additional hardwood canopy trees, or the applicant could pay into the tree fund per inch of tree.
What was the result? We had the discussion about solar panels versus the tree and the.
That was the oak tree
Oh,
also,
okay,
yes.
all right, uh-huh. And
so
that's-
we're still planning, or they're still planning to take that down?
Yes.
That is
Just-
correct. And I think in her latest note, she's actually also addressed that it's clear as to why that's being removed for solar panel, and she was okay with that.
Okay.
But does it need to be replaced with a certain caliber of other trees, or it's just, I'm just curious.
Say that again?
Yeah,
Does it need?
yes, and that's what she's included in her memo, in her recommendation to add a certain number of shrubs to add up for that deficit.
Yes.
Okay,
And I'm sure you two were not on the email thread, but I did some research on carbon footprint of solar panels versus trees. And the numbers came out that the solar panels were 250 to 400 times more effective at reducing a carbon footprint than the single tree would be. So I think the numbers support removing that tree to make solar panels viable.
Lovely. Thank you for that.
Hey, and I'm a tree hugger, so.
I'll get out of chainsaws.
now it's contingent that the solar panels have to be built in the land, because of the landscape plan.
All right, well.
All right.
Now, where are
We
we?
have to open a public hearing.
Did we open it?
We didn't open it yet.
Okay, open the public hearing, please. Second, all in
Okay.
favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Anybody here to speak on it?
No,
Please.
Hi, so I'm Dinshaw Patel. I've been here before. I raised the issue of the water coming down the driveway onto our property across the street.
right.
So the concern is, in a serious storm, how is that water going to be caught in some sort of a drain? And where is it going to end up? And whether the catch basement is of sufficient size to collect the water in a serious storm. Because the alternative is it's a very steep driveway and it's going to end up on our side of the street onto our property. So you guys are experienced in these matters, and I just want you all to check that the water that would run down their driveway in a serious storm will be collected in a proper way so that it doesn't end up on our property.
fair enough.
Maybe our engineer could speak to that?
Well, I mean, I could tell you that they did include trench drains at the bottom of the driveway. I think there's one at an intermediate location also that feed into the dry wells. They've got pretty significant sized dry wells in place. They did complete the percolation testing, the infiltration testing on the soils. They got very good infiltration rates, so And I believe that storm, it was designed for the 25-year storm event.
And there's a trench drain at the very bottom of the driveway,
At the property line, so it's
at the
like
property line. Yeah, just
25
inside.
feet back from the street or something like that.
So he's saying that there's two trench drains on the driveway, and they go into a good-sized dry well? It's a Caltech, or it's,
They're actually, they're specifying concrete ring type dry wells, like 8 foot diameter, I think.
If it's helpful, I can share it on the screen if y'all want to take a look at it.
Yeah,
and then that water gets percolated into the soil.
right.
Yeah.
So these are the two concrete wells. And then there's a trench right there at the edge of the right of way where the property lines start. Let me know if that's hard to see. I can zoom in a bit. Yeah, there's
It's pretty
that
standard. What we usually require, some means to pick up the water at the end of the driveway, so we're not positing it on the right of way.
So can you use your cursor to show Mr. Patel where these drains are?
Yes. So this is the big concrete well, one that's up at the top of the property. There's another one down here towards the end of the driveway, and then here's that trench as well towards the end. And so if
I believe
zoom out,
there's another trench up toward the top of the driveway as well.
oh, that's right. There's one right there. Yeah. Thanks, Lenny. Yeah, there's one right there as well.
So again, the committee is knowledgeable whether you feel this is sufficient in the case of a storm to catch the majority of the water.
Well, you say the committee, I mean, I'm not, but the reason that we have on call an engineer is because the engineering firm has evaluated it and they are satisfied. So we take their advice.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So where are we?
Anybody else, would you like to? Yes, please.
Yeah. No, I guess we're not done.
Introduce yourself to the.
Sorry, I'm Shonaz Patel, Praveen Shah Patel's wife. We've lived in that house, across the road from the proposed house for 34 years. And our concern is it's a very steep driveway, and Fergie Avenue is a shortcut from Ashford over to Mercy College. And during the school year, there are school children waiting for the buses. It's a very busy intersection, just at those times. And we're just concerned about the health and safety issues of a car coming down there and being able to pull out safely. Is there anything that can be done, speed bumps or something like that, or a traffic sign?
You're talking about in the public right of way. You're not
Yes.
talking about on the property.
No, I'm not talking about the property.
Those are all good questions. It's out of our purview.
That would be the Board of Trustees.
Right, I mean, that sounds like they could be great ideas, I know exactly the conditions you're talking about, but we only deal with what happens on private property. We'd have to approach, one thing you could do is you could talk to Rob Barron, who is the chair of the traffic committee, and he's very active in the village in getting things like speed bumps and speeds reduced and things like that.
And actually, he drives on that road and lives near there, so. Rob Barron, I mean,
It's a different,
yeah, the Board of Trustees actually deals with all the public right-of-ways, but it's interesting of how, we talk about stuff and how does the
Right.
Board of Trustees actually find out about this and do something, so.
No, and Rob's a very good advocate for those things.
Yeah,
so
Rob Barron.
Talking to him would be a
You could
good
even reach
idea.
out to him directly.
Yeah.
He's on the traffic committee.
but there's a traffic committee and the Board of Trustees. They're two different
Yeah.
entities.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
The traffic committee is an advisory thing,
I see.
but they're effective sometimes. The Board of Trustees is a legal entity. They actually make the decisions.
And you can just approach this directly? We don't have to go
Sure.
through
Yeah,
anybody?
Rob
Yeah,
Barron
just go
Traffic
to Rob.
Committee.
Yeah, Rob Barron.
And the information is on the village website.
Okay.
I mean, I can send him an email too and just say, Rob,
Yeah.
How about
This could
this?
be our revenge. We send some more things his way.
Usually, that's right, we send stuff our
If
way.
you could amplify that, that would,
Sure.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Anybody else online or? Nope.
All right. Do we-
Does anybody see any reason not to go ahead and approve this project provisionally based on
No.
Nope.
satisfying the landscape architect?
All right.
and,
All right, I guess I move that we close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And do we have a resolution to,
We do have a resolution.
oh, I'm so glad.
Does it have to be modified on the plan anyway?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just tweak two things. So whereas the owner is seeking site plan approval to construct a new single, one-family residence on a vacant lot. The location is at 0 Lafergie Avenue. Whereas the planning board conducted a duly noticed public hearing on June 1st, 2023, and it was concluded on September 7th, 2023, during which time all those wishing to be heard were given the opportunity to be heard and provide written comment. Now therefore be it resolved, the planning board of the Village of Dobbs Ferry determines that based upon the findings and reasons set forth below, the site plan, the application for site plan approval is granted subject to the following conditions. It specifically refers to the engineering plan set, last revised August 15th, architectural plans, last revised August 24th, last revised April 13th, 2023. And then the landscape plans and tree ID plans, last revised June 5th, 2023. And the conditions specifically refer to that the applicant must address the full satisfaction of the village engineer, any, all outstanding stormwater maintenance agreement, and engineering issues, including the engineering memo dated September 6, 2023, and that the applicant must also respond to all comments by the village's landscape consultants memorandum dated September 6, 2023.
Okay. So I move. Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great.
Thank you.
All right, good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you
for
very
coming.
much.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
you guys. Thank you.
For your
Bye-bye.
comments. You're just writing Rob Barron right there?
And then do you want to just do a quick vote on the AHRB portion of the project?
Yes.
Is there a separate resolution for that?
I mean, it just basically says that the AHRB is familiar with the site plan, and it refers to specifically the same engineering and architectural plans set forth.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Nobody left to thank, oh, there, thank you.
Okay. All right, where are we?
6 Moulton Avenue.
That's it.
Let's adjourn.
Yeah.
You move that we adjourn?
Item 3 on our agenda, 6 Moulton Avenue, continuation of public hearing for proposed regrading of rear yard. Applications adjourned until the October 5 meeting. Under pre-submission conference for
We need to
planning.
vote on the, we need to vote on the
We have to
adjournment.
vote on that, all right. I move that we adjourn it until October 5 meeting.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Pre-submission conference for Planning Board, HRB, review zoning text amendment to prevent general animal-related uses within the CP zone.
Permit general animal-related use.
All right,
There's
all right, right.
There's a petition pending before the village board, so that they're looking to include in the Chauncey Park District, the ability to, bring in a veterinarian, use. And so the proposal is to make a zoning amendment to allow for the, use of a veterinarian office, and specifically, it would allow for animal-related uses, general.
And I went into the code and looked at the difference between general and intensive. This is interesting.
Yeah.
You-
Intensive is more like the animal
Yeah.
hospital where they stay overnight and everything.
Yeah.
The general is more for a vet. It
So
does say
general
in the
has-
general that in,
Yeah.
in, like special surgeries, they would be able to stay overnight.
Yeah,
I believe we're gonna take that out also, so it's just a day. There's no
Oh, really?
overnight
Really?
stays there.
Oh,
so general uses have no outdoor facilities provide services or treatment only for domestic animals such as dogs, cats, fish, birds, and small mammals. Overnight boarding
no
is
fish, no horses, no.
No, that's intensive. Overnight boarding is provided only following medical treatment. Examples include pet sales and grooming uses and veterinary clinics, but you said they're going to take out the overnight.
I think right now, that's not what the applicant's petitioning, so I don't know if we want to, if we can really state that at this point.
Okay, so yes, then
But no boarding.
There's no boarding, but I don't know if,
no boarding, and it says in special situation, or they can stay
I
overnight.
don't know, if it helps the economy of downtown Dobbs Ferry, I'm for it.
This is
Not downtown,
Chauncey
this is
Park.
Chauncey Park.
I'm a little
Chauncey Park, well,
confused.
that too.
But it's in on, the building it's in is right next to the New York Health
Yeah.
Club,
So is-
Sports Club.
Of that, but
Yeah, that's right,
And then people like drop off on Hamilton Avenue, I guess.
yeah.
What is, I mean, you know, but what is the source of the, what is the externality that is people are trying to prevent by not allowing it to be, by restricting it to just like a day clinic?
I don't think anybody is. I think right now, the applicant is only petitioning to change it to animal uses general. Dan was saying that he is recommending maybe a change. I think right now, I think we can only ask for a recommendation from this board based upon
With
the
it in there,
petition.
yep.
So I'm really just curious. I mean, I don't think there's a problem with it. I'm just curious. What are the concerns with, I mean, I get the concern with having a horse or a cow. But I'm curious, what are the concerns besides the animal size? Like with the idea of having it being a boarding, kind of place where like animals might be boarded or.
Dozens of barking dogs day and night.
Is that what it is?
That would be my
Noise,
concern.
is it the noise?
Hotel across the
Well,
street.
dogs in
And
general.
also, I guess like the walking them and stuff too, how much space they have. It's a lot of concrete over there. I think it's partially that also.
Okay.
Usually if you bring it to the vet, I mean, you're in and out.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
But then again, in that zone, we have the Danforth apartments, and you could have a dog in every apartment if you want it. Like, there's
Oh,
no, that's
interesting.
why it was a little.
Yeah.
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 Dan, I'm looking at Lori Lee's draft local law, and it just has the change. So it's the same as the,
As the general.
yeah.
So the Danforth could have a doggy B&B, Airbnb, where, you know, the dogs would stay overnight if they needed to, and then go back to the vet.
It was funny to me when we didn't see that in the code. I didn't know why it would be not permitted in the Chauncey Park district.
I'm good with it, I mean,
I'm fine,
and we're just responding to the BOT, right?
Think of any-
I know.
This is the least intrusive.
I mean, besides the
Category,
feces.
correct?
Yes.
Yeah, no.
Here, I'll give you that.
This does not seem like, oh, thank you.
That's the law.
I know.
Yeah.
So general animal-related uses have no outdoor facilities and provide services of treatment only for domestic animals. Overnight boarding is provided only following medical treatments.
That's okay.
It seems pretty
It seems fair.
moderate to
Pretty
me.
benign.
I think that sounds typical.
So should we make a motion to recommend?
Well, does anybody have any concerns that we haven't
No,
touched on?
I don't.
They don't name all the animals that could possibly be there.
Well, that'll be interesting.
If your kid can kill it, it can go to that.
Remember the guy who had a tiger in his gas station in Yonkers?
Do you really?
All right. We need a motion on this?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
it would be a recommendation.
It's just on the record.
Recommendation, yeah.
Okay.
You're missing the good part, Mr. Steinschneider.
Yeah, no, you can leave if you'd like.
Speaking of large breeds,
The board recommends, is that what we're hearing? Yes.
Yes.
yes,
Yes, we recommend.
we do, we
Should we vote? We don't need to vote on it?
No.
Okay,
We just recommended that there's a veterinarian at Chauncey Park. General uses only.
Yeah, I know.
No intensive uses,
All right.
and that's it.
I think we're out of things. You have anything, are you here for any,
He's here for the air conditioning.
is it okay if we adjourn? Okay, I move we adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.